The farmers we will meet on these tours come from all across the land that today we know as Canada. But for thousands of years, Indigenous peoples have been taking care of this land. They knew how to make sure the soil was healthy and the environment was taken care of. We rely on the land to grow food for us to eat. It's important that we take care of the land so it can nourish us. That's why we want to learn from the Indigenous people's wisdom and ways of caring for the planet. We want to work together to create a healthy future for this land and for our communities. This is called reconciliation, and it means we want to make things better between different groups of people.
Hello and welcome back everyone to the Great Canadian Farm Tour. Today is our 7th stop on the tour and we are in Alberta, where we will be visiting a grain farm. But before we begin today, I would like to introduce you to Stephanie, who is the operations manager for Ag for Life, and she's going to teach us a little bit about her province.
Hi everyone, welcome to Alberta. I'm excited for you to learn more about grain farming today. Let's learn more about the province of Alberta. We're going to learn more about our province's capital city, provincial bird, provincial flower, and a famous landmark. This is our province's flag. The landscape in our province is very diverse, which is represented on the flag. You can see mountains, green forests, and wheat fields. The capital city of Alberta is Edmonton. It has a population of about 1.1 million people. Our provincial bird is the great horned owl. The eyes of the great horned owl cannot move, which means they can only look forward. This means they must turn their whole head to see in other directions. The wild rose is our provincial flower. Alberta students chose the pink, prickly wild rose as Alberta's flower in 1930. A popular landmark in Alberta is Banff National Park. It is one of the most well-known parks in Canada. Lake Louise is a lake found in the park, and it is known as one of the most beautiful natural landmarks in Canada.
Awesome. Thank you so much for teaching us a little bit about Alberta today.
You're welcome. Have a great tour, everyone.
And now let's welcome our Great Canadian Farm Tour host. If you rearrange the letters in her name, it spells you are cannelloni. It is Colleen Cronican.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. Hi, Laura.
Have a great tour today.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I can't believe we're on our 7th tour already. I'm having so much fun going on all these virtual field trips with you. We've seen so many great entries already into our contest. So just a reminder to teachers that you can take photos of your class participating in the Great Canadian Farm Tour. There's been awesome photos from individuals' activity books, which have been really cool to see. So keep those photos coming in, and you can also email me your entries as well. Now, I'm very excited to introduce you today to our grain farmers, Tara and Matt. Welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Thanks so much for joining us today. Just a reminder to our viewers, we get to ask Tara and Matt lots of questions, so make sure you write your questions in on the YouTube channel, and we can ask them as we go. So, Tara and Matt, can you explain to us what a grain farm is and what types of crops you grow on your farm?
Sure. Well, basically a grain farm is where you take little seeds and you plant them in the ground and you nourish them throughout the season. Then in the fall, we harvest them with hopefully the right amount of rainfall, and those crops are shipped all around the world. And we grow on our grain farm a variety of different crops: malt barley, feed barley, hard red spring wheat, and canola.
Okay, so lots of different crops. What's the first step in growing these plants? What do you need to do first?
Well, actually, that's right now, we're right in the middle of it. It's seeding. So the first thing we have to do is actually plant the seeds. And end of April, beginning of May is when we start seeding. So that's what we're actually doing on our farm right now. So we have a video, and we'd like to show you exactly how we do that.
Awesome. Let's take a look.
Okay, so here's a video of the tractor pulling our what we call as the air drill or air seeder. The tractor is 560 horsepower. So there you can just visualize in the olden days what one horse would do. This is 560 horsepower tractor pulling 60 feet of air drill, and it is precisely planting the crop with the fertilizer in there. Next, we have the truck that we haul the seed in. We have to supply the seed to the air drill. So here's my son Quinn. He's jumping in the truck. He's going to back the truck up to the drill, lift the box up, and we will be dumping the seed into a conveyor that's attached to the air cart. And everything's done with remote control. You see the remote control there, and you see the seed is dumping into the conveyor, and it's being transported to the top of the cart up there. And Quinn looks like he's jumping up the ladder here and giving us a view around it. The equipment has certainly got bigger over the years, and this is a 760 bushel cart. So that's how much product it holds of seed and fertilizer. And he's looking around, and that's a good look at the tractor when we're stopped. Basically, we can get roughly around 100 acres per fill when we fill the seed and the fertilizer. So we can seed 100 acres without stopping. And for everyone that might know what is an acre, well, I'm going to use imperial measurements here. An acre, this is not metric, but imperial. An acre is 16 and a half feet wide by a half mile long. So that's fairly good chunk is 100 acres per fill. And we're back, and as soon as the unit is filled, then we're going to get that truck out of the way. And here Quinn's walking over to the drill, and you can see the little boots there. So down there is where the seed comes out, and it precisely gets placed in the ground and gets mixed with the fertilizer. And so there's 72 different openers on this drill, and they're 10 inches spacing between them. And in the tractor itself, we have quite a few different computers. And this new drill this year, we have an iPad. So we're running Wi-Fi, and we're monitoring things with Wi-Fi in our cab. Looks like we have a delete notice, but watch out for the scary red screen. But the tractor is guided by GPS, so that global positioning satellite, GPS. So once we do the outside round by hand and steer the tractor by hand, the tractor, the GPS will take over, and it's called auto steer. So it will precisely seed the field within inches and not have any overlap or misses. And doing that precisely works very good because we're knowing we're getting the exact amount of product we on. And here, after the drill goes by, we're checking the seed depth to make sure. It's so critical to make sure that your seed is placed at the right depth. And as you can imagine, lots of long days, and we go from sundown to sunup. And Quinn, my son, is taking some ag tech agronomy course at Olds College right now. So he's learning about drone footage, and so he was lucky enough to have him to come out and video the tractor late at night and give us a few shots. So we don't work all night, but we certainly work into the dark. And it's wonderful, especially in the dark, to be able to have the technology to be able to use GPS to guide us and know that you can effectively seed and plant. And you still have to watch out for obstacles, though. The tractor will keep going unless you turn it around at the headland. But yeah, and you have anything to say, Tara?
Well, just the biggest thing we wanted to point out, there is a lot of really high tech stuff that we use in our equipment and how we do things. So we tried to highlight some of those for you between the drones and things. So.
And that was funny. This picture of Kenny was driving around a air drill. So here's the crop, the seed that it grows, and this looks like a wheat field, and that's what the crop looks like when it's a standing crop. It's ripe. It's ready to either straight cut or cut down. Here's a picture of a little baby canola plant. They're always so tough to get growing. They're kind of stubborn to get them going, but then look what they turn into. Such a beautiful crop, beautiful yellow flowers, and that will eventually turn into the cooking oil that everybody enjoys with their French fries.
Wow, so interesting. It sounds like seeding's a very busy time of year for you.
Yes, it is. Very busy. especially
Okay.
when you have technical issues.
I bet. Okay, so we have some questions coming in here. Let's get to answering some. How long does it take to seed all of your crops from Sydney?
Well, Sydney, thanks for the question. It usually takes us, usually we can seed around 300 acres a day and about 2 weeks, flat out for 2 weeks. But generally you have a rain delay. So we're looking at about 3 weeks to get it all in. And that's running steady.
Yeah, and the
Yes.
hours we usually go.
We usually have to have we like to have the drill going, the wheels rolling by 6:30, and we always quit around 10:30. Like stop the wheels, service, and fill with product the final time with fuel and whatever. But yeah, so we
Some
put in some
long
long
days.
days during long days.
Definitely. Okay, another question. Bear was wondering why the seeds in the video were red.
Well, we use here's a picture of what the wheat looks like. Some kernels here, but we treat the seed with a fungicide because there's different types of diseases that attack the seedling before it even comes out of the ground, and so we treat it and put a protective seed coat on it called a fungicide, and that helps the seed get out of the ground quicker, faster, stronger, healthier, better.
Okay,
Thanks for the
perfect.
question.
Yeah, great question. Another one. Asher asks, how many different tractors do you have on your farm?
Well, we have five different, well, I guess six. So we have the Big Blue. We have Big Blue. That's the 400 or 560 horsepower Big Blue. We have a John Deere tractor that runs our roller and our grain cart that you'll see later on. I have Little Blue, which is sort of our chore tractor. I have a skid steer, which we use for all our little handiwork, and an old case tractor that we also use for auger tractor.
And you notice he has names for all of them.
I was going to say that. I love the names. Okay, it's time for our first brain break. So students, get your activity books ready and write down the answer to the first brain break question.
Did you know wheat and barley are the two main grain crops grown in Alberta?
Okay, so Tara and Matt said that you grow both wheat and barley. You also grow canola, but canola is technically an oil seed. So that's a fun fact for the students and teachers out there. Okay, so once the seeds are planted, what do you have to do to the plants as they grow?
Well, just like maybe your parents who do gardening, now it's time to take care of them. And that's a really important piece. So we do that by spraying some of our crops, and we have a video that we're going to show you to explain this next part of taking care.
Perfect.
So here's a picture of our sprayer. It's called a self-propelled sprayer, and we do spray our crops with three different types of products. One, you'll see that picture there that plant is starting to suffer from some fungicide. So we spray our crops. Actually, before we even start seeding, lots of times if we have weeds starting to grow, we will we will spray our ground with this unit prior to us seeding. That enables us to preserve moisture. It enables us to stop the land from blowing, and it also it stores carbon in the soil. So for us to eliminate a pass of working the soil, we can keep more organic material in the soil, and it creates a healthier environment for us to spray and kill the weeds first. So we call that our herbicide. So the first step would be to spray some herbicides to control the weeds prior to seeding. And then once the crops start to grow, I guess I should talk about this. Once the crops start to grow, then we will spray an in-crop spray to control weeds if needed. And we also will look at how's the plant doing. Is it getting attacked by fungus? And we will apply a fungicide if needed. And very rarely do we have to have bugs attack our crops where we have to spray a pesticide to eliminate the bad bugs. But we have to be very careful because there's lots of good bugs too. So here's a picture of us spraying a cereal crop. This looks like it's a wheat, and we're going along. And the sprayer has once GPS controlled with sectional control, so guided by the global positioning satellite, and it only it has different sections that shut off, so it allows us only to spray. You can see this only half spraying there. That's why we used that video. It's spraying only where we want it to spray. No overlap and no misses. And it's actually quite fun. I enjoy driving the sprayer. It's fairly relaxing, and it's kind of like flying a plane. You can just absolutely roll about 15 miles an hour, and this is your captain speaking, and away we go.
Well, and that's not all chemical. That's mostly water. Right.
Mostly water. There's very little chemical that actually gets put on the land. So for an acre, I described an acre and 16 and a half feet by half wide. We're putting on a half a liter of chemical in most cases, or grams per acre. It's not just, loading the crop with chemical.
Yeah, only as much as you need, right? Based on what the science tells you to do.
Or you could talk about the 4R stewardship, and it works for spraying too. The right rate, at the right amount, at the right time, at the right place.
Perfect. Okay, so we have some questions coming in here. What types of pests attack grain crops? From grade 1, 2 in Prince Rupert, BC.
What types of pests? Well, we have sometimes, every once in a while, we'll have grasshoppers. The grasshoppers and they can make a heck of a mess. We'll have the wheat midge can get at wheat. We can have for our canola, we can have lygus bugs, Bertha armyworms. There's a variety of bugs that come and attack our different crops. Bugs, but also I guess pests. Weeds are quite a pest every once in a while too. If we want to talk about pests, we certainly battle with weeds
and disease.
But. Yeah. I'm assuming he meant the bugs, the bad bugs.
Yeah, the bad bugs, for sure. Okay, next question. Do you ever have time to take a vacation as a grain farmer? From Adeline.
Yes, we do. We really try to, well, Mother Nature sort of dictates when we can take a holiday, but we try to have a holiday in July. We love to go to Sicamous in the summer. That's in British Columbia, and we have a place there, and we absolutely love it. It's a place that we can relax and put our minds to have a break.
Our vacation time is always has to obviously be during the quiet time. So we do try and do a winter holiday, usually around January, February, and then we have our summertime. So it's important for families to still take time, but can't do it during the busy season.
No.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, it's now time for our second brain break video.
Did you know there is a lot of technology used on grain farms? 2 examples of these technologies can be auto steer and drones.
Okay, it's time for today's mystery word. So today's mystery word is world. Students, you can write this in your passport, in your activity book, and you should have lots of words in the passport now, hopefully, and you can add it to your mystery sentence to soon reveal the hidden message. All right, Tara and Matt, we've already learned so much about your farm. What are you going to teach us about next?
Well, this comes the last and final part of a grain farm cycle. We are going to talk about how we harvest all of our crops.
Okay, let's watch this video. Oh, Tara and Matt, you'll just need to hit the unmute button.
There. Oh, we're muted.
Perfect.
Sorry.
We're good to go.
Yeah, so this is called a windrower or a swather, and there's Bailey the dog. She comes with me everywhere. And so we're swathing a canola field down, and we swath the crop. We choose to swath and put it in a windrow so that it dries it naturally in the air, and then it's ready for harvest. So once it's dried for 14 to 21 days, the canola, we can come in and harvest it like this picture here. So we swath with the GPS and we harvest with the GPS as well. And we're recording our yield in the computer. So here's our John Deere combine, and
this is a wheat field.
That's a wheat field, and we're picking up with the pickup header the grain, and it's getting cleaned, and out the back is the excess. So the machine very quickly separates the grain from the chaff, or the wheat from the chaff, and it stores the grain on the top. You see those wings up there? Well, that's where the grain gets stored. And anything that the combine doesn't want, it cuts out the back or kicks out the back. So we're going along, and soon the combine will get full, and then the grain is either picked up by a truck or the grain cart. We have a John Deere tractor that's going to come alongside and take the grain, and we like to unload on the go. So we don't stop to dump. We find that we can be very efficient that way to continue to roll and dump as we're combining. So the auger should swing out, and you will see a picture of that, and we will dump on the roll. This is a good thing to talk about the technology on these combines as well. John Deere has artificial intelligence on these combines. So once we tell the combine that we're happy with the work it's doing, we press a button, and it's to say auto maintain, and the computer will talk to you in human language and tell you what adjustments that it has made because of what it sees when it takes pictures. This combine constantly takes pictures of what's coming into the clean grain tank and what's going out the back, whether it's losses or is it damaging the crop, and how that works. So it's a very smart combine, and we combine hopefully from around 8 till midnight. So these combines, we don't even stop for supper. Some people do, we don't. We roll. Harvest weather is the most precious weather that we get, and so we roll straight through. Yes, Tara?
Well, I just wanted to make sure you explain to them here's the grain cart.
Oh, yes.
So this is going to show the grain unloading. And as you can see how they time that driving side by side, that's the auger unloading into our grain cart, which our son is driving. So there's another one of those tractors that Matt was mentioning earlier. And from here, he's going to transport it and give it to our truck driver, who's going to take it to the bins.
Yeah, see, I lied. I said we don't ever stop and unload, but this would have been a rare occurrence.
That was me dropping off.
Sure, maybe it was time for supper.
It was dinner.
So Tara delivers us supper. So this is canola that's getting unloaded into my Kenworth, my big truck, one of them, and we take this once it gets loaded into the black Kenworth or Kenny. That gets delivered to the grain bins right here where we store it, and we also monitor it. Once it's in the bin, it isn't safe. We have to ensure that it stays safe. Bugs can even attack the grain when it's in bins like that. And then from there, it gets shipped to a local inland grain terminal. From there, it goes on a train and put into a boat and shipped anywhere around the world.
Yeah. So what are some countries that the grain could be shipped to?
Well, Japan, everywhere.
Europe.
It
goes all over. And I guess we didn't tell them what it all makes.
We didn't tell them what. So bread, your hard red spring wheat, which we just finished last night. We just finished all of our hard red spring wheat. So this year we planted roughly 2,000 acres of hard red spring wheat. And we're estimating we're going to get around 160,000 bushels of wheat. And a bushel of wheat is 60 pounds. Pardon me for my imperial. And that will make 6,720,000 loaves of bread.
Wow, that's a lot of bread.
And then the barley that we're going to grow, which they will use that to make malted beverages and feed barley. That's used for cattle as well. So our barley will produce basically enough barley on our farm to produce 32 million bottles of beer, if you want to calculate it that way. Or for our canola, we're looking at getting 65,000 bushels of canola from 1,300 acres, which should give us 715,000 liters of canola oil that you'll enjoy later with your French fries at McDonald's if you like to do that.
Yes. Wow. So you produce a lot of food on your farm, which is very cool to see. Okay. Do you have any grain samples with you? You can see some of the grain up close.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I don't have the canola with me since we weren't supposed to talk about our grain farm, but I didn't bring the canola, but we have the wheat.
I didn't fully see it through, so you show the wheat first, mate. Matt, you got the cameras over there. We didn't figure out this part.
Oh, I didn't practice with the camera.
Okay. So those are some small little grains. You can see how small they are.
And if you can see, it's almost the wheat that he showed, and then look at the difference of the barley. So
right.
The shape and the color of both of those crops. This one was from 2018. Yeah, that's trying to Jimmy rig. We forgot to practice that part.
Yeah, pardon me. We
That's
didn't practice
okay.
that.
Maybe you saw some of that, but yes. So
Oh, yeah, and the wheat is ground up into flour. And you can have different types of wheat as well. But you'll enjoy that later with your buns and breads and garlic toasts of different kinds.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, let's answer 2 quick questions.
Okay.
So Lena in 23Z asks, how do you know when the wheat is ready?
Good question.
The old guys used to say, if you put it in your mouth and you break your teeth, then you know that it's ready. If you take it and you grind it up in the head and you chew some, and if it's really hard, then you probably can combine it. But wheat is ready to harvest at 14.5% moisture.
So we test it.
We test
have a tester.
We test it, yes, to make sure. But
so
sometimes
you want to make sure it's dry enough.
Mother Nature says you have to roll, so we will take it off wetter than that and get it custom dried as well.
You can tell also because the color of the crop changes as it matures and it gets ready for harvest. So that's another signal as well.
Right.
Okay, one more question. Do you hurt the plants when you run them over? From Evelyn in grade 3.
Yeah, you do actually. You do hurt the plants. They do recover, but preferably you don't want to be driving over the plants. So that's a great question. The more tracks you make in the field, or the less tracks that you make in the field, the better, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So now it's time for our job spotlight, where we will learn about a different career in agriculture.
Agriculture retail managers manage stores where farmers can go to get goods for their farms. They sell feed for animals, crop inputs like seed, crop protection products, and fertilizer. Ag retail managers also make sure their employees are taken care of.
All right, Tara and Matt, do you have an agriculture retail manager you can count on if you need to?
Yes, we do. You want to take that one?
No, you can.
Oh, well, we primarily deal with a company or a cooperative called United Farmers of Alberta, and that we deal with a person there that helps us with some agronomic decisions, as well as make sure that we have the appropriate products that we want to use. And it's very helpful to have that for us. And we also hire an agronomist as well this year to ensure that we are taking soil samples and we're putting on the right rate, the right products, the right time. And it is helpful to hire outside advice.
Those relationships are really important, and they play a really big part on our farm in helping us not only get the products that we need to farm, but also sometimes giving us the suggestions on perhaps a new product that we might want to use.
So lots of people you can count on in the industry.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Well, we've come to the end of our tour, but Tara and Matt, thank you so much for teaching us about grain farming today. I learned a lot from you, and I'm sure students and teachers across Canada did as well.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning into these. I hope you enjoy the rest of your tours. It's great to have you taking an interest in where all of your food comes from.
Yes. Okay. Thanks, Tara. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Okay. What an awesome tour.
That was a really great tour. It was so cool to learn about all the different steps involved in growing and harvesting wheat and all the other grains that they have.
Yeah, it sounds like a very busy job. Lots to do.
It really does, yeah. For our next stop on the tour, we are going to be heading back to the East Coast, and we'll be visiting a bee farm in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Yeah, so bees are a good insect, so can't wait to learn some more fun facts about them.
See you all in Newfoundland and Labrador.